Education.
Hey, this is Tuesday, September 19th, and my advanced class, and we're gonna get into our learning stuff for today. Football spirit game is tomorrow, Wednesday at 5:30. Look for me. I'll be there. Newsella article is due tomorrow. You can take more than one, as long as you also then make sure that you, whichever was the highest out of your three is one I will go with for you. And I had someone point out to me in one of my other classes that if the quizzes are giving you a hard time, there's a button that lets you change the lexile where you can make the quizzes easier. I didn't know it either. I wasn't trying to hide this from you, but I had a kid tell it to me, so I figured I'd pass along the information to you. That apparently you can dumbify the different articles if you would. You could like crank up the dumbometer. And so apparently that's an option out there that I was unaware of. So we're all learning together. Then the homework was today, and as some of us are finding out, directions are not always our friend. Then we have a bell work we're going to go over, which is the magic lens, which is called article fail. Then stop it. And we're back. Our two sentences tonight. I will read my article and pass my quiz. And the second one, I am lazy, but I do not want to fail. And then I did not put this up for you guys yet. I apologize. I got so distracted and excited charging kids points. I figured I'd give you a quick chance to look at yours and make sure they match up. Braden, is that your paper down there or the Swanson's?
What? It looks like the Swansons.
I will look over to him. Thank goodness he put a name on it. So as you go through it, the first one has 2 nouns, 3 verbs, 2 adjectives, and whatnot, and we'll see how well you do. As we do group impact learning, what's going to happen is I'm not going to make anyone stand up for this one. We're going to do it all together. And so we're going to sort of see if you all agree on the answer, it makes it easy. If we have a disagreement on the answer, then we have you vote for it. If you don't know the answer, don't be loud. If you feel strong about the answer, then that's where coming and being louder will pay off for you. Tonight, I will read my article and pass my quiz. Question, child?
You might want to say ripped headphone users.
No, I like to make more of a surprise for them. I have no idea what's coming. Tonight! What part of speech is it?
Verb.
Adverb.
Oh, hang on. That's 3 different answers already.
Adverb.
Hang on. Stop yelling at me now. We have adverb, verb, and adjective. Did I have someone say something different?
No.
Okay. So those of you who say verb, raise your hand. Those of you who say adjective, raise your hand. And those of you who say adverb, raise your hand. Now, looks like the adverb people win. Tonight, modify. It tells you when something happens, which means it's modifying a verb, which means adverb.
Yes.
I. All together. This is where I look for make sure all the sounds the same. Will.
Hiding.
Okay, hang on. Let me try it again. Will.
Verb.
Okay, so this makes have all of our voices together there. Read.
Verb.
My.
Adjective.
Okay.
It is.
Article.
Noun.
Okay. And.
Conjunction.
Try there.
Pass.
Verb.
My.
Adjective.
And quiz.
Noun.
Well done.
I
That
failed
one,
3 times.
not too bad scary wise.
-3.
And then your next sentence, I am lazy, but I do not want to fail. Do the same thing again. I
Pronoun.
am
Verb.
lazy,
Adjective.
but
Conjunction.
I
Pronoun.
do. And we'll try that one again. Do.
Verb.
I don't
Or
know.
you're saying right. Adverb.
Wait.
Shezits. Shezits?
We'll try it again then. I just do.
Verb.
That's the overall. Just checking. Not.
Adverb.
Try that one again. Not.
Adverb.
Adverb was correct. I was going off the overall one. Want.
Verb.
To.
I don't know. Oh, preposition. Yeah, it is preposition.
Preposition.
There's only one preposition.
There's only
And try it again.
Preposition.
Two.
Preposition.
I mean, you only have like a
One
preposition and a verb left. So those are your two options.
I got it right.
And fail.
I got that one right.
In theory, there's a chance some of you might be getting smarter the more we do this. It's almost like there's a reason behind it.
Behind impact.
Weird. So now, if you're done with the homework and the bell work, you can get the notebook off. You're done with that. Yeah, the only homework due tomorrow is New Zealand. As long as you've done your New Zealand, you're good to go for it. Aside from this homework, I'm going to have you open up your iPad and download this story called Locker Joke. And so this is the one that's going to connect to Friday's quiz. I will send out reminds. I've already posted it to Canvas Calendar, but to try and remind you, this one is longer than the other story. So I'm trying to give you more time to get it done. But I also think it's a bit more interesting because it deals with a kid at school going around breaking into lockers and stuff that happens to him from there. All right. Sandy?
Do we need our pencil anymore?
Nope. Seth?
So since we're kind of on your website, I just wanted to ask you, what happens if we click on the story that we're definitely not allowed to read?
Nothing right now. If you like this story, it's by the same author.
Okay, good.
So,
Trash.
yeah, nothing. It just brings up a story by the same author.
Well, I mean, like, trash me.
I'll survive. This is going to disappear, and then we're going to go to the story for today, which is going to be scrolling down a little bit. So it says stories, and there's one called Black Cat. So the story for today is called Black Cat. It's about a cat that's black.
Oh, it's by Edgar Allan.
Now, it is an Edgar Allan Poe story.
It's 2 pages.
For those of you who have done anything with Poe in the past, this is very much a Poe story. The drawback to the Poe story is 1, yeah, it's creepy. 2, it's disturbing. 3, it's high level and dense, because that's how Poe likes to write. He uses lots of big words, which means we're going to have to stop every once in a while and sort of say, hey, what did that whole big block of words mean? And you're going to go, and so that's where we're going to try and help you get there. There are going to be disturbing bits in this story, so try not to freak out as we go through it. Keep your freaking out to a minimum. Okay. Child?
Is it disturbing that I actually find the story awesome?
No, that's why I read it too. We're not going to worry about that. That's going to show up actually next week. All right. Black Cat. With our short story mountain that we did yesterday, that first flat part, what's it called?
Exposition.
What is exposition?
The beginning.
Boring beginning
As
stuff.
we get into it, figure out my boring beginning stuff. We're going to figure out who the character is, sort of the character description, where he is, and stuff like that. Our first paragraph, we're going to find out something is going to happen to our character tomorrow, and figure out who our main character is and something about his personality. The Black Cat. For the most wild yet most unpleasant story, which I'm about to write, I neither expect nor ask for belief. Crazy indeed would I be to expect it, in a case where my very senses reject their own evidence. Yet insane I am not, and very surely did I not dream it. But tomorrow I die, and today I would unburden my soul. My immediate purpose is to place before the world, plainly, concisely, and without comment, a series of mere household events. In their consequences, these events have terrified, have tortured, have destroyed me. Yet I will not attempt to explain them. To me, they have presented little but horror. To many, they will seem less terrible than elaborate. Hereafter, perhaps, someone whose intelligence may be found which will reduce my unbelievable experience into a more commonplace one. Some person more calm, more logical, and far less excitable than I am, which will identify, in the circumstances I detail with awe, nothing more than an ordinary series of very natural causes and effects. Step 1, Point of view is just going to play a role in the story. What's our point of view?
First person.
First person. So the main character is talking directly to us. Do we know who that main character is?
No.
It is not Edgar Allan Poe. That is the author of the story. So we don't know who he is. We just know he's somebody. We know what's going to happen to him tomorrow. He's going to die. Now, he hasn't told us why, but we do find out in a little bit. We find out why he's going to die tomorrow. He says, before I die, I have a story I have to tell you. Now, the story, he's going to say, has some really weird things in it, but for the most part, it's a whole bunch of normal things combined together, become this crazy, extraordinary torture. That's his intro to the story. Since I was a baby, I was noted for the happiness and humanity of my personality. My tenderness of heart was even so obvious as to make me the butt of my friends' jokes. I was especially fond of animals, and was indulged by my parents with a great variety of pets. With these I spent most of my time, and never was so happy as when feeding and petting them. The oddity of character grew with my growth, and, in my adulthood, I derived from it one of my major sources of pleasure. To those who have cherished affection for a faithful and friendly dog, I need hardly be at the trouble of explaining the nature or the intensity of the satisfaction I had. There is something in the unselfish and self-sacrificing love of a canine which goes directly to the heart of him who has had frequent occasion to test the measly friendship and delicate loyalty of a mere human. A lot of words. Essentially, what do we find out about his personality?
He loves cats.
That's important. He loves animals, to the point that his friends made fun of him growing up because he was such a tender-hearted and nice person. Remember that. It's important.
Got it.
Tender-hearted, nice person really loves animals. I married early in my life and was happy to find in my wife an attitude not unlike my own. Observing my soft spot for domestic pets, she lost no opportunity of purchasing those of the most agreeable kind. We had birds, goldfish, a fine dog, rabbits, a small monkey, and a cat. The cat was a remarkably large and beautiful animal, entirely black, and friendly to an astonishing degree. Speaking of his intelligence, my wife, who at heart was not a little touched with superstition, made frequent references to the ancient popular notion, which regarded all black cats as witches in disguise. Not that she was ever serious upon this point, and I mention the matter at all for no better reason than that it happens just now to be remembered. Pluto, that was the cat's name, was my favorite pet and playmate. I alone fed him, and he followed me wherever I went about the house. It was even with difficulty that I could prevent him from following me through the streets. 2 quick points. Is our guy single?
No.
No. He's married. What's his wife's personality like?
Loves animals.
Plays an important role also. And we find out what's his favorite pet?
Pluto.
Nice. By the way, do you guys know Pluto references?
Mickey Mouse.
The dwarf planet.
The dwarf planet. But the dwarf planet is also a reference to something else.
The
Yeah.
dog
forget.
and Mickey
God of death.
Nice. Well done.
Roman God of
Pluto, the Roman god of the underworld and the Roman god of death. And so that's the same connection.
I should have known this. I studied that on my own.
Is there a connection?
that said no one
No. That'd be silly.
That'd be really funny.
Our friendship lasted in this manner for several years, during which my general attitude and character, through the effects of alcohol, had, I blush to confess it, experienced a radical alteration for the worse. I grew, day by day, more moody, more irritable, more regardless of the feelings of others. I suffered myself to use harsh language to my wife. At length, I even attacked her with personal violence. What's changed in his personality?
He got mad. He's mean.
Close.
Alcohol.
Alcohol. We're going to find out that he has started drinking. And apparently when you drink, you don't make good choices. One of his bad choices is he a good, friendly drunk?
No.
No, he's not. He likes to commit to poor choices when he drinks. And oh boy, does he. One night, returning home, my pets, of course, were made to feel the change in my personality. I not only neglected, but abused them. For Pluto, however, I still retained enough thought to restrain me from mistreating him, as I made no hesitation of mistreating the rabbits, the monkey, or even the dog, when by accident or through their affection they got in my way. But my disease grew upon me. For what disease is like alcohol? And at length, even Pluto, who is now becoming old and consequently somewhat bad-tempered, even Pluto began to experience the effects of my bad temper. One night, returning home, quite intoxicated from one of my haunts about town, I thought that the cat avoided my presence. I seized him when in his fright at my sudden attack, he inflicted a small wound upon my hand with his teeth. The fury of a demon instantly possessed me. I knew myself no longer. My original soul seemed at once to take its flight from my body, and more than cruel wickedness, alcohol nurtured every fiber of my body. I took from my waistcoat pocket a small knife, opened it, grasped the poor beast by the throat, and deliberately cut one of its eyes from the socket. I blush, I burn, and I shudder while I pen this horrific crime. So he makes poor choices.
I've already read this. It doesn't surprise me.
With that, he got drunk one night, and he comes home. And what does he do with the cat?
Stab it in the eye.
Now, I'm sure the cat deserved it, because what did the cat do?
Get it away.
It bit him on the arm. And why did the cat bite him on the arm? Because he grabbed it violently. And why did he grab it violently? Because he was drunk and the cat was trying to run from him, because the cat ain't no dummy. But apparently it has come back to haunt him. But don't worry, it gets worse.
I've already read this. I already know what
Children
happens.
in town,
No
Tiger.
spoilers.
When my reason returned with the morning, when I had slept off the effects of the night's sins, I experienced an emotion half of horror, half of remorse, for the crime of which I've been guilty. But it was, at best, a weak and vague feeling, and my soul remained untouched. I again plunged into excessive drinking, and soon drowned in wine all memory of the frightening deed. So does he learn from it?
Nope.
No, he does not. The only thing that makes getting drunk better is more getting drunk.
He's an addict.
In the meantime, the cat slowly recovered. The socket of the lost eye presented a frightful appearance, but he no longer appeared to suffer any pain. He went about the house as usual, but, as might be expected, fled in extreme terror at my approach. I had so much of my old heart left as to be at first grieved by this evident dislike on the part of a creature which had once so loved me. But this feeling soon gave place to irritation, and then came the spirit of unreasonableness. I am not any more sure that my soul lives than I am that unreasonableness is one of the basic impulses of the human heart. Who has not 100 times found himself committing an evil or silly action for no other reason than because he knows he should not do it? Have we not an unconscious need, despite our best judgment, to violate that which is the law, merely because we know it to be wrong? The spirit of unreasonableness, I say, came to my final overthrow. It was this deep longing of the soul to anger itself, to offer violence against itself, to do wrong for the wrong's sake only, that urged me to continue, and finally to complete the injury I had inflicted upon the innocent beast. One morning, in cold blood, I slipped a noose around its neck and hung it from the limb of a tree. Hung it with tears streaming from my eyes and with remorse in my heart. Hung it because I knew that it had loved me, because I felt it had given me no reason or wrongdoing. Hung it because I knew that in so doing I was committing a sin, a deadly sin that would so jeopardize my immortal soul as to place it, if such a thing were possible, even beyond the reach of the infinite mercy of the most merciful and most terrible God. If you don't know what a noose is, good. But now I get to introduce you to it. That's what the noose is. And so he makes another poor choice, because the best way to follow one poor choice is to double down on poor choices. And the worst choice he does is
Hangs the cat.
hangs the cat. And his reasoning for hanging the cat is
It loved it.
it loved him is toward the beginning of it. Ayana?
It loved him, and he felt like it was starting to avoid him, and he was tired of it.
On the right track. He did it for some of the same reasons you guys do what you do, which is
Make poor choices.
because making poor choices is fun. The same reason that when your parents say you should not go out to the park tonight to go visit your friends because you have homework, and you're like, what else? And out you go. They go, you should not be on your iPad late tonight because you're going to be tired. You're like, what else? You do it. That same thing where sometimes we know there's things we should not do and we do them anyway. That's when Mr. Brovicast, he killed a cat. I know. So he goes a little farther with his commitment. I'm not saying staying on your iPad late is the same as killing a cat. The reasoning behind it is the same. He does it because he knows it's wrong. Your homework is some of the toughest homework you're going to have, which is do not read the story. Save it for tomorrow, and we get to do it together.